experienced. The reason I'm doing this story is that
Okay.
in a lot of YouTube comment sections under the Human Monsters videos, I kept seeing Junko Furuta, and I didn't know. I'd never heard of the case. I thought, is this like a greeting in some third world country? Junko Furuta.
Like, hey.
Yeah. So I went to Google to find out what it means,
Oh,
but
wow.
it wasn't an expression in a foreign language. It's the name of a young woman, a Japanese woman, 16 years old,
Oh,
who
wow. That's a
experienced a
girl.
horrific crime, probably one of the worst things that has ever befallen a young Japanese woman. So here goes,
Wait, am
everybody.
I ready?
Oh, you'll never be ready for this.
Hang on. Oh,
Did you take some Pepto? Did you? All right, so Junko Furuta was a 16-year-old Japanese girl who underwent 44 days of rape and torture before dying in the hands of her captors on November 22nd, 1989. So this is one of those dustbin stories, goes way, way back. Not that that kind of thing wouldn't happen today. So known throughout
you already
Japan.
said something that bothers me because you said captors, which means there's more than one.
Oh, there is more than one, yeah.
Okay.
So known throughout Japan as a concrete encased high school girl, the case of Junko Furuta drew nationwide attention owing to sheer brutality the girl had to endure before death found her. So she attended the high school in Misato in Saitama Prefecture, Japan. I'm not going to pronounce all these
Yeah,
words.
sorry. We can't. We're not
Uh,
doing
she she was a good-looking, active teenager who enjoyed a lot of attention, which made some people jealous. She did not smoke, did not drink alcohol, and did not do drugs, which was seen as very uncool in the eyes of more gangster-like teens. One of them, Hiroshi Miyano, had a crush on her, but not looking for a relationship. Junko Furuta turned him down. Hiroshi Miyano was the bully in the school and involved with the new generations of the Yakuza, which is like a big criminal organization in Japan, kind of
Is it
mafia.
like a gang or something?
Yeah, kind of like a hybrid of like a mafia family and a street gang. They're
So was
pretty.
he young? Was he a young kid or?
Yeah, I think he was. It'll say his age, I think, coming down here. And nobody dared oppose him, so he had quite a fearsome reputation. And Junko Furuta had the nerve to say no, so she wanted to keep her honor. On November 25th, 1988, she was kidnapped by four teenage boys. One of them was Hiroshi Miyano. The boys took Junko Furuta to the house owned by one of the kidnappers' parents in the Ayase district of Adachi, Tokyo. While in captivity, the kidnappers forced Junko Furuta to call her parents and tell them that she'd run away and is going to stay with a friend, but insist that she's not in danger. Not able to realize what was coming and too scared to remain non-compliant, Junko did exactly as she was told, ultimately forestalling a manhunt that would have otherwise followed her disappearance.
Wow.
Parents of Nobuharu Minato, in whose house Junko Furuta was kept, visited their son on a few occasions. Still, under a threat of increased violence against her, Junko was requested to pretend that she was a girlfriend of one of the boys. However, even when it became apparent that she was a captive in the house, the parents did nothing for fear of retaliation from Hiroshi Miyano, who was known to have Yakuza connections, as mentioned earlier.
So wait,
During
was that their son or the kid? It was a friend.
son, yeah, he was there. Wait, let me see. No, that the parents were of a guy named Nobuharu.
So it was the son's friend.
Yeah, he was. So yeah, he was one of the assailants. Yeah, but they knew that one friend had connections to the Yakuza, and they don't fuck around. So during 44 days following her kidnapping, Junko Furuta was forced to withstand unspeakable suffering. What she went through before murder included, here's the list, was humiliated by being kept naked most of the time, was raped every day in both the vagina and anus. More than 100 men are believed to have raped her. The captor with Yakuza connections has invited other Yakuza members to have a go at a 16-year-old. She's estimated to have gone through about 500 rapes. At one point, she was raped by 12 different men in one day. Endured physical beatings, including hits with golf clubs and bashing of the face against the cement floor. The 100 men who were believed to have raped her had also reportedly enjoyed urinating on the girl. Frequently to turn her rapists on, she was forced to masturbate in front of them and their guests. She had various objects forced into her vagina and anus, including a bottle, an iron bar, scissors, roasting needles, grilled chicken skewers, among other objects. Let me see. There were other things here. Was provided with only a limited supply of food or water. Was forced to eat live cockroaches and drink her own urine. Had fireworks forced up her ass and set them off, causing severe burns. Had her left nipple ripped off with pliers. Had dumbbells dropped on her stomach while lying on the floor with hands and feet tied up. This resulted in a loss of bowel control. Was hanging from the ceiling and used as a boxing bag. Was kept in a freezer for several hours. Had eyelids burned with hot wax and lighters. Had breasts pierced with sewing needles. Had her vagina and clitoris burnt with cigarettes and lighters. Had a hot lit bulb, like a light bulb, inserted into her vagina and rubbed until it exploded inside. While she was only 1/4 through her ordeal, owing to ongoing beatings, Junko Furuta could not breathe through her nose due to the accumulation of blood in her cavities. Her traumatized internal organs refused to accept food and water, so when she tried to drink, she instantly vomited, which kept her more dehydrated. It also agitated the perpetrators, who punished her with more beatings for soiling the carpet. At one point, when the attackers were resting after drinking, she tried to call the police but was caught and punished by having her feet set on fire with burning lighter fluid on them. Large bottles the perpetrators forced up her anus caused internal injuries and ugly bleeding. Severe leg burns and badly bruised muscles left her unable to walk after 20 days of her ordeal. She couldn't handle anything with her hands anymore because her bones were smashed with weights and her fingernails cracked. Since it was winter, she was also forced to sleep on a balcony, exposed to cold temperatures.
I don't think I can handle any more of the story. Like, I'm not fucking kidding.
After 30 days, Junko Furuta could not urinate properly due to damage to internal organs and vulva from the insertion of foreign objects and burns from cigarettes and lighters. Her hands and feet were damaged severely, and it took her over an hour to crawl downstairs to the bathroom. Her eardrums were also damaged, and her brain size was reduced. During 44 days, when she was repeatedly tortured, beaten, and raped, Junko Furuta begged her captors several times to just kill her and be done with it. They didn't grant her that favor. Instead, on January 4th, 1989, they challenged her to a game of Mahjong solitaire. She won, and that pissed the boys off. So they treated her to a beating with an iron barbell and fire by setting her legs, arms, face, and stomach alight after pouring lighter fluid on them. Being already severely beaten, dehydrated, and malnourished, Junko Furuta fell into a shock and died the following day.
Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
No. The murderers stuffed the dead girl's body in a 55-gallon drum filled with concrete and disposed of it in Koto, Tokyo. Junko Furuta's captors were identified. The Japanese court withheld the names of 4 main captors who kidnapped, tortured, raped, and murdered Junko Furuta because they were juveniles.
Fuck you. Fuck that. Fuck that.
However, the journalists from the Shukan Bunshun magazine dug them out and published them, stating that after what they did to Junko Furuta, they don't deserve anyone to uphold their human rights. Yes, so Hiroshi Miyano, as mentioned earlier, he was 18 years old at the time of the crime. He changed his name
They're not. If you tell me they're not dead right now, I think I'm not going to be able to live my life.
I don't think any of them were dead.
They need to.
He changed his name to Hiroshi Yokoyama. Joe Aguro was 18 years old at the time of the crime, changed his name. Shinji Minato was 16 years old. And then Yasushi Watanabe was 17 years old. All 4 perpetrators were caught and tried. However, because they were all underage when the crime was committed, they were tried as juveniles. Eventually, they faced sentences as adults, except that the court withheld their identities. Still, given the severity of their crimes, the sentences they were handed out were relatively low. Now each of them is already out of jail. 3 of the boys served less than 8 years. The leader has initially been sentenced to 17 years in prison.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
But after his appeal, Judge Ryoji Yanazi bumped his sentence to 20 years instead of lowering his sentence. The same judge also increased the punishment for 2 bored boys who appealed. One didn't, so his sentence stayed as it was. Either way, they're all in their late 30s and all out of jail. So that's
no. It will be my life's mission to find these people. Whoever is into this, all the people who have commented, send me the motherfucking. There's got to be like websites looking for these fuckers. Absolutely not. They do not deserve to be breathing air. Absolutely not. That's the most horrific thing I've ever heard. I can't even hear. I'm sick to myself. I'm physically ill.
Up.
I'm ill.
Yeah, one of them actually went back to prison after he was released
for beating a guy he thought was luring his girlfriend away from him.